How is everyone? I hope everyone is having a pretty decent day. I'm about to take a nap because I woke up early to go to brunch with my mom. But I wanted to talk about something very quickly. Oh, and by the way, wherever you are, I love you. I ain't forgot, wherever you are, 5 hours a day away. I don't care. Okay, so Kodak Black. The situation with Kodak Black is it's a very challenging topic because I wasn't even trying to freak out over this stupid fucking porch monkey coon. I wasn't trying to get mad about the fact that he had a preference or that he liked light-skinned women. I said to myself, that's fine. This ugly piece of shit can like yellow bones. He can date a colorist yellow woman. He can, that's his preference. Or so he says. Then, in an interview with a dumbass black interviewer who didn't really do shit except smile in his face and giggle when he said, I like, light skinned women. That bitch, she fucking blushed. Am I the only one that noticed that she kind of blushed when he said that he liked a yellow bone? Ooh. But Kodak Black explains why he has the preference that he does. And this is from a video he made on Instagram defending the fact, fuck you, don't put anything crazy under my comments, because a lot of black men and black women were going after him and just saying all types of things to him, to the point where after he made that video defending himself, he deleted his Instagram. So basically, black men and black women ran him off of Instagram. Oh my God. He got cyberbullied off of Instagram for his colorism. But then he's at an event for black women explaining, I love black women. I love African American women, just not women that are my color. I like the lighter skinned women. I like the yellow women, because they are soft. And, we are gutter, and we are like, at first he was trying to put himself down. He was trying to put dark skinned men down, but then he caught himself and then switched it to, oh, dark skinned women just aren't soft. They are, mean, and, like, bitch, you sound like a fucking porch monkey back in fucking 1912 writing fucking Negro spirituals talking about you don't want a bald headed black bitch, a jet black bitch. That's what you sound like. That must be your fucking great 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 grandfather. He must be an ancestor of yours, because you know what? That's what you sound like. I'm so sick of these people coming up here thinking that they are doing something for the black community and for the struggle, but all they are doing is adding fuel to the fire by contributing to our oppression as black women. Now, I am not called at black's color, and as someone who has family in the South, as someone who has family members who are the color of Kodak Black, I know he wasn't talking about me. But at the end of the day, I'm not a very light-skinned woman myself. I know how people can perceive me compared to someone that is Beyonce or Mariah Carey or even Halle Berry, because she's half white. There's a distinction. And I know brown skinned women aren't necessarily victims of colorism all the time, but y'all can't sit here and pretend that just because, we get a pass in certain cases, that we don't get people saying sarcastic things about our skin color as well, especially when some of y'all will try to say that we are light skinned, and then when we agree and say, okay, we're light skinned, y'all will sit there and say, y'all ain't even really light skinned. Y'all just false claiming, y'all want to be light skinned women. But yeah, when y'all want to be convenient and claim brown skinned women like Makeup Shayla or Kerry Washington. Makeup Shayla is an MUA that I just adore. Like, she's amazing. Follow her. But Kiki Palmer, Sanaa Lathan, Taraji P. Henson, the safe brown women that people say, they aren't yellow. They aren't Nicole Ari Parker or Nicole Murphy or Paula Patton or Vanessa Williams light skin, but they are like around the brown skin women where it's common. They're certainly not, high yellow or anything, but they are like, the common brown skin women that you will see. People sit there and say, they aren't high yellow, they aren't Lisa Bonet and blah, blah, blah. But then when they want to date them and they look at them and they have certain features or certain hair textures, they try to play them like they are light skinned. And people have done that to me depending on my hair texture at the time. If I had in a weave or if I had braids, people would try to ask me if I am mixed. And in my area, because I was just talking today with my mom, how, there are a lot of biracial kids I see that are much darker than me. They are dark-skinned children. You know, they have blonde hair, red hair, but they are very dark-skinned. And she said, you know, this because of a suntan. But even with a suntan, like, it's obvious that they aren't light-skinned children. These aren't light-skinned mixed children. So we live in an area where it gets pretty hot. And, you know, the sun can, you know, really tan out our skin. But it just shows that you can have a white mama, like genetically a white mama or a white daddy, and you be dark-skinned. So there are dark-skinned mixed children, but people have asked me, you know, are you mixed? Because it's common in this area for kids to be mixed. I was asked that at this high school that I went to, not in the town that I live in now, but a town I moved to a couple of years ago. Not even a couple of years ago, several years ago. This was back in 2011. A student teacher had asked me this because a boy in my class was biracial, and he kept talking about how mixed he was, and his mom was black, his dad was the white one, but he's like, I'm mixed and I'm black power this. And I kept saying, you know, for someone who's half white, why are you so obsessed with telling people how black you are? You know, I always wondered. I went to school with black boys that had white moms or white fathers, and they would always talk about how mixed or how black they were. And it's kind of interesting because black girls sometimes would say, you know, I'm mixed with this, I'm mixed with that. But black guys will sit there and say, I'm black and I'm black power this, and, you know, fuck crackers. And it's a different type of dynamic. And I'm going to get into this with Kodak Black. But when he said this, I thought, this nigga is dangerous. Get the nigga out of here. I don't care if you don't want to date me or a woman that's his color. I don't care. But when you start promoting dangerous logic like dark-skinned women, they can take hits, they can take bullets, you know, like they go through a lot, you know, they are human shields. It's a very harmful thing to say. It's a very hurtful thing to say. You know, with New Jack City, the Keisha character played by the dark-skinned Vanessa Williams, that Vanessa Williams team pretty much screwed over. But, you know, where she gets killed because she's one of the men, like she's shooting along, and then the delicate light-skinned woman, she's with Nino Brown, and, you know, he cancels her, but then he's with a darker-skinned side chick, you know, who is just basically there to, you know, protect him and to be his guard and to, like, you know, fight the police officers trying to come in and raid her place. You know, like the dark-skinned woman has to be the ride or die, you know, has to take a bullet, but a light-skinned woman, you know, she can just sit back and relax and sip some champagne, you know, and, you know, she doesn't have to get her dress messy. But if you're a dark-skinned woman, you got to have more responsibility. And I felt what Kodak Black was saying, light-skinned women are easier to break down. And I guess some people took it as light-skinned women are easier to manipulate. But I took it as, since light-skinned women are perceived as more delicate, more prettier and flimsy, you know what? I don't have to worry about doing anything to them. It's the dark-skinned women I have to worry about. And because of that, that is why so many dark-skinned women are raped, murdered, they are abused, cheated on, all types of horrible things, denied jobs, arrested, just because people perceive them as tougher, harder, colder, mean, you know, independent, don't need a man. And that's what Kodak Black was talking about. And he said, you know, I'll fuck a dark-skinned woman, you know, I'll fuck him, you know, I don't have a problem. But, you know, as far as claiming them on my arm, you know, no. I will never wife a dark-skinned woman. I will never publicly claim her. Then Amber Rose comes in yesterday and makes a post on Instagram, a very long, almost long-winded post. One of those posts that you see on Facebook where your 30-something-year-old cousin will post on there trying to uplift a group of girls. And sometimes she doesn't quite hit the mark. But with Amber, she made a post where she said, I heard Kodak Black's comments. And as a mixed race, light-skinned woman that is a so-called yellow bone, in the words of Kodak Black, I understand that I have it easier getting modeling jobs and being seen as the pretty woman, you know, with the good hair and the good looks because of how I look and who I am, my mixture. I'm only paraphrasing because she didn't say all of that, but she essentially said, I know I have privilege because I am a light-skinned mixed woman. I am one of those women Kodak Black was talking about. And as a biracial woman, as a light-skinned woman, as a yellow bone, I'm speaking out against Kodak Black. That's what I took from that post. But other people decided to turn it into Amber Rose making it about herself. And, you know, she just wanted attention to promote Slut Walk. And I'm just like, God, not everything Amber Rose says is a promotion of slut walk. Sometimes she just wants to talk and reach out to women. I know some of y'all don't like Amber Rose. I know some of y'all feel uncomfortable about her talking about sex and all of that. I know some of y'all don't like to see her naked all the freaking time. But y'all need to stop trying to act like Amber Rose is just talking just to be talking, because she actually has real things to say. And y'all always want to sit here and cape for Cardi B. And like I said in my last video, I gave Cardi B another chance. But I just don't see how y'all can excuse some of the stuff that Cardi B has said. But here's Amber Rose, a much older woman, saying, you know, I grew up in the game where I saw dark-skinned women being denied from I was about to say stripper hotels, stripper motels, but from stripper clubs. I've seen them denied from roles that I've been a part of, because remember, I trashed the hell out of school dance, which she was in. And I'm sorry, I messed up your name, baby. But Christina DeBarge actually follows me on Twitter, and she was in that movie as well. She was one of the main girls. But I actually criticized the movie because all the popular girls were light skinned. So I'm pretty sure maybe one of them probably saw a post that I made a long time ago and was like, you know, I can see that. And Amber Rose basically admitted, you know, I've been around all that where they would choose me or other girls because of the way that we look. They would literally tell us, you know, we want you because you the yellow bone, but we don't want a girl that's too dark. And they would confide in them because they would think that because Amber Rose fits the type, that she would totally be okay with it. But Amber Rose basically said, I see so many beautiful dark-skinned girls get turned away because of their color, and I didn't understand why. Growing up, you know, it was cool to be the light-skinned, or not the light-skinned girl, but it was cool to be the brown-skinned girl, the dark-skinned girl. Because I grew up in an environment where it was mostly black kids, and most of the kids were brown and dark skinned, and I wanted to be friends with them. And I was kind of the lame little light skinned girl, which I believe because I seen pictures of her, and she was not an ugly girl. She was a cute girl, but you know, she looked kind of like just your regular, you know, dowdy, you know, little nerdy, you know, light skinned white looking girl. You know, she wasn't like, you know, who should I say? I don't know. She wasn't like one of those light-skinned girls, you know, with the, you know, right type of features, you know, and, you know, you got the looks and all of that. Like, she wasn't like that. You know, she just looked like, you know, your regular type of girl. You know, like, she was quite plain. She wasn't ugly. Like, she's a beautiful girl. But, you know, I can believe that maybe she felt like, you know, I looked plain old little light-skinned me, and here are all these beautiful brown, dark-skinned girls that don't want to be my friend because, you know, I'm light skinned. And she said, I never understood why that was, but now that I am an older woman, I know, because these girls were being taught to hate me because they're being told that they are hated for their skin color, that they aren't as beautiful as girls like me. So I can see where they are coming from. You know, they used to make fun of me and talk about my hair, but now I understand why that is. And it wasn't coming from a place of, I'm trying to make this about me and how I was bullied, but it was basically giving nuance as to why dark-skinned girls act the way that they act, or why some dark-skinned girls act the way that they act. Not all dark-skinned girls, but some. And then a lot of people who didn't even read the post were coming in and writing think pieces and threads about how they felt, and, you know, how they're Amber Rose, and, you know, she's selfish and she doesn't care about anyone and she doesn't intersect. You know, it's all about Amber Rose. And I'm like, oh my God, I wish people will read. I wish people will take the time to understand what people mean and to dissect, and just stop going off of reactions from other people or what other people tell you how to feel. Because I'm quite through with this whole culture of, you know, let's react instead of analyze. Y'all are reacting too much. And I understand why some of y'all are doing that, because when we hear things like, you know, I was bullied and picked on for being light-skinned, when we are talking about colorism, something that light-skinned people benefit from, we think, okay, so what does that have to do with how dark-skinned girls are treated? Yes, but y'all didn't understand. Amber Rose was just saying, wow, that may be a problem for light-skinned girls. Dark-skinned girls go through a lot worse, and I cannot understand why. I cannot live in the shoes of a dark-skinned girl. And as a feminist, as a black mother, I am going to do all I can to make sure that it gets better, that I'm going to bring my issues with feminism, I'm going to intersect my issues and feminism with colorism. And y'all try to sit there and say Amber Rose is not an intersectional feminist, which I think is kind of a stretch. I think she's intersectional. It's just her field of expertise is sex work. She's not going to talk about something academic, or she's not going to sit there and just talk about colorism or anti-blackness without something to do with sex work or slut walk, because that's her thing. Y'all don't have to hear it. But I just don't like how people want to downplay Amber, because I feel Amber Rose is good for Black women. I think she's good for women in general, but I feel she helps end the stigma of sex. She helps end the whole sexualizing a woman's body for absolutely no reason. She helps end the stigma of women talking about sex openly and freely. And I think that's part of the reason why she is so graphic, because she wants to normalize it. If a man can come on TV and talk about, blah, 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 and saying all this lewd things, it should be Amber Rose too. Like, anyone should be able to be open and free. Some of the things, I think she takes it a little bit too far, but Amber Rose, sometimes she just tries to be funny, and sometimes it doesn't really translate well to other people. But I get what she's trying to say. But I'm not mad because she wants to talk about sex work, or she wants to talk about slut walk. Like, that's her thing. She was a stripper when she was 15. So if Amber wants to talk about sex, she most certainly can talk about sex. Like, that's her thing, and she does intersect, because before slut walk was taken over by Amber Rose, it was just a bunch of bland white women. Bland, skinny, conventionally attractive white women. When Amber Rose started promoting slut walk, she had brown skin, dark skin, all types of women of color, and plus size women on the front cover of her poster. Like, she had like a promo shoot of all these women of different sizes, and she said, I'm going to have my own slut walk. And I like Amber Rose's slut walk. I personally like it. Now, you may not have to agree with everything she says. What she said about bisexual men was biphobic. Whether you think it's a preference or not, she could have kept that to herself. Now, if someone had asked her about it, maybe that's a little bit different. But if she just came out like, oh, I wouldn't date a bisexual man, like, bitch, keep that to yourself, because that's biphobic. And for the reason to be the fact that, oh, bisexual men cheat, no, that's biphobic. And even if someone asked you, you said, we all have a preference, you could have like tried to divert the question and say, we all date whoever we want, like, I'm not going to I'm going to pass on that. You could have said something, but for you to sit there and just come out the blue and talk about your preference like it was needed, no. And you just as bad as Kodak Black, I feel, on that aspect, where you said something that was very violent and dangerous towards a group of people. You talking about slut shaming and not wanting to judge a woman by her body count, but you did the same thing to men and say, well, I wouldn't date a bisexual man because he may cheat on me with a man, and he may take the dick up the ass, and he may have like 20 dicks from the past. I'm like, what, that's hypocrisy. And I wouldn't consider her a gay icon. I wouldn't consider her a part of the LGBT liberation movement. I mean, she's bisexual. She's a part of LGBT. But I wouldn't consider her like an activist in that aspect. Because, until you brush up your history and your education on bisexual men, no, I'm not going to consider you no gay icon. You not to me. But as far as slut walk, yes, I do appreciate that. I do appreciate how Amber Rose wants to really talk about how a girl can show off her body without fear of rape, street harassment, and being called a slut. And y'all want to say, well, Amber Rose just wants to talk about herself and talk about how she's beautiful and wants to show off her naked body. Y'all kind of sound the same as the people with respectability politics that say, well, you just want to do this to get naked. Well, duh. Like, she wants to do this so she can do all that without being judged. And y'all sound like the same people saying, well, you don't really care about feminism, you just want to get naked, you just want to have sex. And then someone said what she's doing is something that helps sex workers, but it doesn't help all women. Well, sweetie, sex work is something so stigmatized. They really do need their own little space. So if you're mad because she's not including someone who is outside of sex work, sorry, if you don't relate. I'm not a sex worker, but I can relate to most of the stuff that she's saying. So back to the whole colorism thing. While I don't think that she should have mentioned the fact that she was bullied and picked on by dark-skinned girls, because I think it once again switched the narrative to light-skinned girls can be victims too. I don't think she was victimizing herself. I think y'all just did not read. Y'all wanted to react off of something you heard other people say. Y'all wanted to get retweets. Y'all wanted to look like y'all knew what you were talking about when all y'all were doing was just paraphrasing the things that I've said before or what other people have said. And it's not everyone. People have points. It's just certain people I saw that I already know don't like Amber Rose. I already know do not like certain people. And, you know, were saying other things about other black women that they weren't light skinned, but I guess because they weren't their ideal of a brown skin or a dark skinned woman, they were trying to talk about how they were light skinned and they were just making themselves look dark on Instagram. And I'm like, bitch, that woman is a dark skinned woman. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I'm not mentioning names, but I saw one person try to talk about somebody that I really like, and that's when I took my like back. Or I took my retweet back because I was retweeting from them. But then when I saw them say something about a certain person that I do like and I respect,